A volcano erupting 600 feet underwater. A trench deeper than Mount Everest is tall. An island split between two countries with no passport required. Today, we're exploring 20 mind-blowing facts about the Caribbean that will change how you see our world. Fact 1. The deepest point you've never heard of. The Atlantic Ocean hides a secret chasm just north of Puerto Rico. The Milwaukee Deep plunges 27,480 feet into complete darkness. That's deeper than Mount Everest is tall, by over 2,000 feet. In 2018, explorer Victor Vescovo became the first human to reach the bottom. He discovered 4 new species living where sunlight has never touched. Fact 2. The underwater volcano that won't stay quiet. 8 kilometers north of Grenada, something's rumbling beneath the waves. Kikum-Jenny is the Caribbean's only active submarine volcano. It erupts every few decades, creating domes of water 300 feet high. The summit sits 600 feet below the surface, but it's growing taller. Ships avoid a 1.5-kilometer exclusion zone where volcanic gas can sink vessels. Fact 3. 4 of the world's 5 glowing bays. There are only 5 bioluminescent bays on Earth that glow in the dark. 4 of them are in the Caribbean, 3 in Puerto Rico alone. Millions of microscopic organisms light up when you touch the water. Mosquito Bay is so bright you can read a book by its glow. One paddle stroke creates an explosion of electric blue light around you. Fact 4. The border that hasn't moved since 1648. St. Martin is the world's smallest inhabited island divided between 2 nations. The French control 60%, the Dutch 40%, and there's no fence. You can drive from one country to another without even knowing it. The Treaty of Concordia from 1648 is one of the oldest active treaties on Earth. Legend says it was decided by a drunk Frenchman and Dutchman racing around the island. Fact 5. A lake below sea level in the Caribbean. Here's something that shouldn't exist on a tropical island. Lake Enriquillo in the Dominican Republic sits 150 feet below sea level. It's the Caribbean's largest lake and one of the world's few saltwater lakes. Crocodiles swim in waters more salty than the ocean nearby. The lake is shrinking and expanding like it's breathing. Fact 6. The island where deforestation is visible from space. The Haiti-Dominican Republic border tells a devastating story. From orbit, you can see exactly where one country ends and another begins. Haiti's side is barren brown. Deforestation stripped 98% of its forests. The Dominican side is lush green, still covered in jungle. It's the most dramatic man-made border visible from space. Fact 7. Mountains higher than New Hampshire's tallest peak. Most people think the Caribbean is just flat beaches. Pico Duarte towers 10,417 feet above the Dominican Republic. That's 4,000 feet taller than Mount Washington, the highest peak east of the Mississippi. The Caribbean has 7 mountains taller than anything in the eastern United States. Some are so high you need winter gear to climb them. Fact 8. The boiling lake that's not a volcano. Deep in Dominica's rainforest, a lake bubbles at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It's the world's 2nd largest hot lake, and it's not fed by a volcano. The 200-foot-wide cauldron is actually a flooded fumarole. Volcanic gases from below superheat the water to boiling. One wrong step into the mist could cause 3rd-degree burns. Fact 9. Black sand beaches that glow in sunlight. Forget golden sand. Some Caribbean beaches are pitch black. Volcanic eruptions pulverized lava into glittering obsidian grains. Montserrat and Dominica have shores that look like crushed diamonds. The sand gets scorching hot under the sun, too hot to walk barefoot. It's what happens when fire meets ocean over millions of years. Fact 10. only 2% of 7,000 islands are inhabited. The Caribbean region contains roughly 7,000 islands, reefs, and cays. Only about 140 of them have permanent human populations. That means 98% of Caribbean islands are completely uninhabited. Some are too small, some too rocky, others too remote. You could claim your own deserted island if you could survive there.
Fact 11. The shortest commercial runway on Earth. Landing at Saba's airport feels like crashing into the ocean. Wancho E. Yaroskin Airport has a runway just 1,300 feet long. That's shorter than most aircraft carriers, and it ends at a cliff. Usain Bolt could sprint the entire length in under 50 seconds. Only specially trained pilots are allowed to attempt the landing. Fact 12. Cuba is bigger than all other Caribbean islands combined. If you merged every Caribbean island except Cuba into one landmass, Cuba would still be larger. It stretches 750 miles from end to end, the distance from NYC to Chicago. To sail around Cuba's coastline requires covering 1,650 nautical miles. That's the same distance as sailing from Newfoundland to Miami. Yet most people don't realize it's larger than Iceland. Fact 13. The trench that created a tsunami in 1918. The Puerto Rico Trench isn't just deep, it's actively dangerous. Two tectonic plates grind against each other right beneath the islands. In 1918, a massive earthquake triggered a 20-foot tsunami. It hit without warning, killing over 100 people in minutes. Scientists say another megaquake could happen at any moment. Fact 14. Pink sand made from dead organisms. Some beaches in the Bahamas and Barbados glow soft pink. The color comes from billions of crushed foraminifera shells. These tiny single-celled organisms have red and pink skeletons. Waves pulverize them into sand over thousands of years. You're literally walking on an ancient graveyard of microscopic sea life. Fact 15. A rainforest inside a volcano crater. The Quill on St. Eustatius is a dormant volcano with a secret. Hike to the rim, then descend 600 feet into the crater. Inside, you'll find a completely hidden rainforest ecosystem. Rare orchids and towering ferns thrive in this volcanic bowl. It's like stepping into a lost world that time forgot. Fact 16. The island that appeared and disappeared. Off Jamaica's coast, an entire island vanished in 1692. Port Royal, the wickedest city on Earth, sank into the ocean during an earthquake. 2/3 of the pirate haven dropped into the sea in minutes. It killed 2,000 people and created an underwater time capsule. Today, divers explore buildings still standing on the seafloor. Fact 17. 3 million people on 2 islands. 75% of all Caribbean residents live on just 2 islands. Cuba and Hispaniola are home to 30 million people combined. That leaves the other 7,000 islands sharing the remaining 14 million. Some islands have more goats than humans. Others have been completely abandoned for centuries. Fact 18. The Puerto Rico Trench is growing. Scientists recently discovered the Milwaukee Deep is still getting deeper. Tectonic forces pull the seafloor down by millimeters each year. In 2018, new sonar revealed it's 8,740 meters deep, not the previously measured 8,376. That's deeper than anyone thought possible in the Atlantic. We've mapped the surface of Mars better than this trench. Fact 19. A blue hole deeper than a skyscraper. The Great Blue Hole off Belize drops 410 feet straight down. This underwater sinkhole is 1,000 feet wide and perfectly circular. Inside are massive stalactites formed when it was a dry cave. During the last ice age, this was above water. Then the ocean swallowed it. Sharks circle the rim like they're guarding the entrance to another world. Fact 20. The rough-skinned dogfish that appeared in 2024.
1,000 meters beneath the Caribbean, scientists found something extraordinary, a rough-skinned dogfish shark never before seen in the central Caribbean. It was discovered off Little Cayman using deep-sea cameras. This species lives under crushing pressure in complete darkness. Its first recorded appearance here proves how little we know about the deep.
Fact 21. The lake that paves your streets. Walk across a lake made of pure asphalt that's solid enough to hold your weight. Trinidad's Pitch Lake contains 10 million tons of bubbling tar. It's 250 feet deep and covers 100 acres, the world's largest natural asphalt deposit. Every night, the lake refills itself from oil seeping up through tectonic faults. Roads in over 50 countries were paved with tar from this one Caribbean lake. Fact 22. Lightning strikes 28 times per minute. Over Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela, lightning strikes more than any place on Earth. For 300 nights a year, storms rage for 9 hours straight after sunset. That's 28 lightning bolts per minute, 250 strikes per square kilometer annually. Sailors used it as a natural lighthouse for centuries. It produces so much ozone, scientists call it the world's lightning factory. Fact 23. Islands vanishing under your feet. St. Vincent has lost 18 to 30 meters of beach in just 9 years. Climate change is making Caribbean islands physically disappear. Some beaches are shrinking by 1 football field every 60 to 90 minutes. Natural areas on Bonaire could be completely underwater by 2050. Entire villages in the Grenadines are being relocated inland as the ocean swallows the coast. Fact 24. The coldest place in the tropics. Jamaica's Blue Mountains get cold enough for frost in the tropics. Temperatures drop below freezing at 7,400 feet elevation. Coffee grows here because the mountain creates its own microclimate. You need winter jackets to hike peaks that overlook palm tree beaches. It's the only place in the Caribbean where you can build a snowman, if it snows. Fact 25. A river that flows backward. During hurricanes, ocean storm surge forces Caribbean rivers to reverse direction. Water flows uphill for miles, carrying salt water deep inland. This backward flow destroys freshwater ecosystems in hours. In 2017, Hurricane Maria made rivers in Puerto Rico run backward for 12 hours. Fish were found swimming the wrong way, trying to escape the ocean invading their home. Fact 26. The island that exploded and buried a city. In 1902, Mount Pelée on Martinique erupted without warning. A pyroclastic cloud traveling 450 miles per hour obliterated the city of Saint-Pierre. 30,000 people died in under 2 minutes. The blast was so hot it melted glass and fused coins together. Only one person in the entire city survived, a prisoner locked in an underground cell. Fact 27. Coral reefs older than the pyramids. Some Caribbean coral formations have been growing for 5,000 years. They started when ancient Egypt was just beginning. These brain corals add only 5 millimeters per year. Now they're dying faster than they've grown in millennia. Half of all Caribbean coral has vanished since the 1970s. Fact 28. The beach that steals from tourists. Certain Caribbean beaches have magnetic black sand that destroys electronics. Iron-rich volcanic particles create powerful magnetic fields. Cameras, phones, and credit cards malfunction if left on the sand. The magnetism is so strong, compasses spin wildly and won't point north. Locals warn tourists, don't put anything digital on the ground. Fact 30. An entire sea trapped inside an island. Barbados has underground ocean water trapped in limestone caves. Ancient seawater was sealed inside when the island rose from the ocean. It's been isolated for over 500,000 years, unchanged and untouched. Scientists found bacteria living in this trapped sea that exist nowhere else. It's like discovering a time capsule from the Pleistocene epoch. Fact 30. The Caribbean's Bermuda Triangle reality. More ships and planes do disappear here than anywhere else, but not for supernatural reasons. The Gulf Stream creates unpredictable currents that can pull vessels off course. Underwater methane eruptions can reduce water density and sink ships instantly. Sudden microbursts in waterspouts form without warning. Compasses malfunction because of magnetic anomalies in the seafloor.
Fact 31. The longest underwater cave system on Earth. Beneath Mexico's Caribbean coast lies a flooded labyrinth that never seems to end. Sistema Oxbel-Ha stretches for 435 kilometers, longer than the drive from Boston to New York. That's 270 miles of underwater tunnels mapped by cave divers over decades. In 2018, explorers connected two separate cave systems, creating this underwater monster. Only 6 people have ever reached its deepest point at 119 meters down. Fact 32. Seaweed invasion costing $120 million yearly. Since 2011, a 5,000-mile-wide belt of seaweed has been choking Caribbean beaches. In May 2025, satellites detected 37.5 million metric tons, the highest amount ever recorded. That's enough rotting seaweed to cover Manhattan 20 feet deep. The algae releases hydrogen sulfide gas that smells like rotten eggs and causes respiratory problems. Caribbean governments spend $120 million annually just removing it from beaches. Fact 33. Mangrove forests storing 5 times more carbon. Caribbean mangroves absorb 3 to 5 times more carbon than rainforests, yet 12% of the world's mangroves are in the Caribbean, and they're vanishing fast. 7,000 square kilometers disappeared in just 30 years between 1980 and 2010. At current rates, every mangrove forest could be gone within 60 years. Each hectare prevents up to $45,000 in hurricane damage annually. Fact 34. The deepest blue hole with no bottom. In 2024, scientists confirmed Tom Jaw Blue Hole is deeper than any other. Instruments measured 420 meters down and still haven't reached the bottom. That's deeper than the Empire State Building is tall, and they're still going. A local fisherman discovered it in 2003 by following a grouper into darkness. Scientists think it might connect to hidden tunnel systems beneath the Caribbean Sea. Fact 35. A border changed by hurricanes every year. The boundary between the Dominican Republic and Haiti shifts after every major storm. Rivers overflow, coastlines erode, and border markers wash into the ocean. In 2017, Hurricane Maria moved some borders by 50 meters in a single night. Entire villages have switched countries without anyone moving an inch. Nobody agrees where the real border is anymore because nature keeps redrawing it. Fact 36. 10,000 cenotes connected underground. The Yucatan Peninsula has at least 10,000 sinkholes drilled through limestone. All of them connect to a single underground river system beneath the Caribbean coast. Ancient Maya believed these were portals to the underworld, and they weren't entirely wrong. Some cenotes plunge 150 feet straight down into crystal clear water. One wrong turn in these flooded caves has killed even experienced divers. Fact 37. A hurricane season that starts before it starts. For 7 consecutive years, Caribbean storms formed before the official hurricane season began. The 2020 season was the most active on record, with 30 named storms. The 2017 season caused $140 billion in damage across just 3 hurricanes. Atlantic hurricanes are now forming 2 weeks earlier than they did 30 years ago. Scientists predict the Caribbean could face year-round hurricane threats by 2040. Fact 38. The island that changes countries depending on tides. There's a sandbar between 2 Caribbean islands that appears and disappears with tides. At low tide, you can walk from one country to another across dry sand. At high tide, it's 3 feet underwater and technically international waters. Local fishermen have been arrested for illegal border crossings while standing still. The spot changes nationality 6 times per day as water levels rise and fall. Fact 40. Underwater forests growing in salt water. Red mangroves filter salt through their roots and excrete crystals through their leaves. You can literally see white salt deposits glittering on mangrove leaves in bright sunlight. Black mangroves shoot finger-like roots straight up through the mud to breathe. These breathing straws, called pneumatophores, stick up 30 centimeters tall. Without these adaptations, every tree would die within weeks in Caribbean saltwater. Fact 41. A temperature anomaly that defies physics. At 400 meters inside Tom Jaw Blue Hole, water temperature suddenly increases. Normally, water gets colder as you descend, but this rises by 4 degrees Celsius. Scientists think this proves a secret tunnel connects the Blue Hole to the open Caribbean. Warmer water from the ocean is flowing in through an undiscovered underground passage.
Finding this tunnel could reveal one of the largest cave systems ever discovered. From underwater cave systems longer than entire highways, to seaweed invasions that appeared overnight, from mangrove forests that breathe through their roots, to borders that migrate with every storm, from blue holes so deep we haven't found the bottom, to islands that switch countries 6 times a day. The Caribbean isn't just geography, it's a living, breathing paradox where the rules of nature get rewritten every single day. Right now, 420 meters beneath Chetumal Bay, warmer water is flowing through a tunnel we haven't discovered yet. Somewhere in the Atlantic, 37 million tons of seaweed is drifting toward paradise beaches. A hurricane might be forming 2 weeks earlier than it should. A mangrove forest is exhaling salt crystals in the afternoon sun. The Caribbean is transforming faster than we can measure it. And every transformation reveals another mystery we never knew existed. The only question left is, how deep are we willing to dive to find the answers?